why would HMRC open a tax investigation into your affairs or your company's affairs? Well, there are many reasons for this, but there are certain red flags that appear time and time again. And one of the most obvious ones is the fact that this is a regime of self-assessment. It's the taxpayer's duty to get their taxes in terms of reporting to HMRC by the self-assessment regime on the amount of tax that you owe and accounting for that in the return with the correct information. And the other is, of course, making the relevant payments. Now, if you're persistently filing returns late, that's going to raise a red flag on HMRC's system. If you're persistently paying late, that potentially could. The other thing, of course, is if you're amending your tax returns, that is going to raise a matter within HMRC's systems. They're going to wonder why it is that somebody is persistently submitting amended returns. It could call into question the integrity of the previous returns submitted, and they could potentially open a wider investigation and go back further years as a result. Now, one of the ways in which they may look into your affairs at a slightly more subtle level is the use of estimates and provisional figures in the return itself, because this calls into question the integrity of the return as well. Because why would somebody or a company that's keeping proper records need to use estimated or provisional figures? There shouldn't really be any need for that. Now, there can be certain circumstances where information might not be so readily available, but it's generally a somewhat rare occurrence. In addition to that, there are certain parts of the economy that are deemed to be high risk from a tax inquiry point of view. For example, in more recent times, eBay sellers have been targeted because of the potential for income from eBay sales to go undeclared, or the risk that that might happen. And there are other areas of the economy such as construction and those areas which are more prone to cash trading that may all spark HMRC into action. Let's also not forget that HMRC is a government institution that has access to a massive wealth of information, absolutely massive in terms of the information that it has on taxpayers, on companies. And of course it does have arrangements with overseas territories where they share information that can lead to them opening tax inquiries in relation to tax evasion, tax avoidance schemes. Tax avoidance schemes is another area, because tax avoidance schemes have to be declared in many instances on the tax return. And what you'll tend to find is if you're using a tax avoidance scheme like disguised remuneration, that some of those schemes will automatically lead to HMRC opening a tax inquiry. Questions, queries, concerned, give us a shout. We know Insolvency inside out.